Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it. She kissed me the way someone closes a door they no longer care about. A habit, not affection. Her lips brushed mine for a heartbeat. Then she turned to the hallway mirror, adjusting her earrings with the same detachment she used when arranging flowers no one would ever smell. We'll take separate cars, she said, too light, too effortless. In case you want to leave early. I blinked. Separate cars. She shrugged, eyes still on her reflection. You always get tired at these things. This way, no pressure. I wanted to ask her what pressure she meant, what she was trying to avoid. But I didn't. I just nodded, because questioning her lately felt like picking a lock I didn't have the key for. As she walked out, the faint scent of her perfume clung to the air, once intoxicating, now strangely sour. I walked slowly to the garage where Ella waited, sitting cross-legged on the passenger seat with a half-open comic in her lap. She looked up. We're not going with Mommy. No, I said, tightening her seatbelt. She left already. We drove in silence for a while, the trees blurring past like shadows of old conversations we never had. My fingers tapped the steering wheel, steady but restless. I glanced at Ella in the rear view. She was unusually quiet, staring out the window with that same expression she wore when her classmates whispered things behind her back, wide-eyed, but somehow older than her years. Then she leaned forward slightly, her voice low. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart? She held something out in her small hand. I found this in the car yesterday. I think Mommy dropped it. I glanced at the object in her palm and nearly veered off the road. A hotel key card. Room 345. Scribbled on it in blue ink, Lucas. A wave of cold swept through me. My hands clenched tighter around the wheel. I forced a smile. Thanks for showing me, Ella. I think I took a wrong turn. But not on the road. In life. Ella watched me in the rearview mirror, her fingers still clutching the white plastic card like it might vanish as she let go. I didn't know if I should tell you, she whispered, but it felt wrong. I nodded slowly, glancing between her and the road. You did the right thing, sweetheart. She settled back in her seat, but her eyes never left me. There was a tension in her that didn't belong to a child. She had seen too much, understood too early. I didn't ask how long she'd been holding on to that key. I was too afraid of the answer. Room 345. Lucas. I stared at the highway sign and made a split-second decision. We weren't going to her father's jubilee. Not yet. I took the next exit, guiding the car through a winding road surrounded by empty lots and aging motels. The air grew heavier with each passing mile. Are we lost? Ella asked. No, I said, my voice lower than I meant. We're just taking a detour. The hotel sat at the edge of town, unremarkable, beige paint peeling at the corners, a flickering vacancy sign buzzing faintly in the distance. I pulled into the back parking lot, shaded by a row of overgrown pines. The engine idled. Listen to me, Ella, I said carefully. I need you to wait here, okay? Just for a few minutes. Why? Where are we? Someplace I need to check, I replied. Lock the doors. Don't talk to anyone. I'll be right back. She hesitated, then nodded. Her little fingers reached for the lock as I stepped out. The hotel lobby smelled of old carpet and forgotten promises. A sleepy clerk barely looked up from behind the counter. I didn't need him. I already knew where I was going. Floor 3, room 345. With every step, my heartbeat grew louder. Not from fear, no, from clarity. Because sometimes, when your child finds a secret, it's not just a clue. It's a door you can't close again. The elevator creaked as it crawled up the floors, each red digit above the door flashing like a silent countdown. I didn't breathe. My fingers curled around the hotel key card, room 345, until the edge bit into my palm. Third floor. The doors slid open with a hiss. The hallway stretched ahead, lined with dull wallpaper and flickering sconces. Each step echoed louder than the last. Room 345. I paused before it, heart thudding in my throat. I raised my fist and knocked once. Firm, no hesitation. Silence. Then a click. The door cracked open 2 inches and stopped. He stood there, tall, disheveled, barefoot, shirt half buttoned, as if he'd only just remembered to look presentable. But his eyes, they shifted from confusion to something darker the moment he saw me. "Can I help you?" he asked, trying to sound casual. Behind him, I smelled her perfume, soft citrus and jasmine, and heard her laugh, light, careless. A silhouette moved behind the curtain. She called from the room, "Lucas, who is it?" The man stiffened, his jaw locked. My voice stayed low, calm. "My name isn't Lucas." His face blanched. He started to close the door. I didn't stop him. I didn't need to. I had seen enough. The pieces rearranged themselves like broken glass, reforming the mirror I'd been too blind to look into. I turned away. Down the hall, down the elevator, past the lobby that reeked of disinfectant and chief secrets. Outside, the world kept turning. Birds chirped. Cars passed. The sun remained fixed in the sky, as if nothing had changed. But everything had. When I returned to the car, Ella was still waiting, chin resting on her knees. She looked up, eyes searching. "Is everything okay, Daddy?" I forced a smile. "Everything's going to be fine." I didn't tell her what I saw, not yet, because the truth had only just begun unraveling, and I wasn't ready for her to see the wreckage. I didn't speak a word to her that night. I didn't tell her when she arrived at her parents' house for her father's jubilee an hour late, saying that her car had broken down on the way and a passing driver had helped her fix it. Not at breakfast the next morning, when she smiled too easily, told me how beautiful her father's speech had been, how her mother cried happy tears. I nodded where expected, pretended, but my mind had already begun to split into two worlds, the one she created and the one I saw with my own eyes. After Ella fell asleep, I sat alone in my study and opened the app, the one she didn't know I'd installed nearly a year ago, after her first odd business trip. Now it's time to take advantage of it. I could read her messages from her phone. Hundreds of messages. Lucas was only the latest name. There were others, Mark, Jason. Someone saved only as C, different hotels. Burner numbers, disappearing threads. And the line that finally undid me, "He's cold. Kevin just drifts around like a ghost. I need fire again." She was right about one thing. I had grown cold, not from spite, but from exhaustion, from wondering how long I'd been sharing a life with someone who left me every time. But the worst thought came suddenly, violently. Ella. 7 years old, sweet, quiet, thoughtful, my whole world. And yet now, a whisper in my gut demanded clarity. The DNA test was clinical. One cheek swap for her, one for me. I mailed it out myself. 3 days later, a plain white envelope arrived, innocent in its shape, deadly in its truth. I locked the door to my office, sat down, opened it. Probability of paternity, 0%. I read it again, and again. My chest didn't heave, my eyes didn't water. It turns out she had been cheating on me for over 7 years. I just folded the page with mechanical precision and slid it into my jacket like a hidden blade. Because when you're betrayed in silence, revenge speaks loudest in restraint. Dinner was quiet, too quiet. She smiled across the table like she'd won a prize she didn't earn. I let her talk. About nothing. About casseroles and coworkers. Then I reached into my jacket and slid the envelope toward her. No words. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Her eyes scanned the page. Froze. I can explain, she whispered. I nodded slowly. Not yet. I took out my phone and tapped the screen. Message threads lit up. Dates, photos, hotel names. Her laughter preserved in text. Her face collapsed as if years of lies had finally caught up and crushed her all at once. I didn't mean for this to happen, she cried. You meant it every time you lied. She reached across the table, but I pulled my hand away. One final step back. She's not mine, I said, voice steady. But I'll raise her because you don't deserve her. Her sob tore through the room as I turned and walked away, quiet, resolved. I took Ella with me, her hand tucked safely into mine, while her mother remained collapsed in the chair behind us. Later, I filed for divorce. The court granted me full custody. One evening, as the sun dipped low, I sat beside Ella on the porch. She leaned against my shoulder, small and certain. I kissed the top of her head. "You're the most beautiful daughter in the world," I said. "I love you, Daddy." She smiled, holding my hand a little tighter. And just like that, the wreckage behind us no longer mattered. She stayed, and so did I. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.